Keisean Henderson is the fastest rising 2026 recruit. Here's why he's generating the most buzz in his class. Keisean Henderson has the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Ryan, why should college football fans know more about a kid who's currently committed to Houston, of all places?
Well, I mean, everyone's trying to make him flip, obviously, at this point, right? Because he's Joe, 6'3", 185 pounds-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. And this kid is such a good athlete that teams have recruited him at corner. They've recruited him at wide receiver. He has stood tall and said, hey, I am going to be a quarterback on the college level, which is why he ended up committing to Houston originally. They were one of the teams that gave him that opportunity. But now teams have kind of turned the other way and said, like, hey, you can come be a quarterback because he's fresh off of a very good junior season. He has all the God-given tools to be a dynamic dual-threat player, obviously, but this is a rare athlete at the quarterback position that you just don't see come out too often.
His progression has been really exciting because, as you just talked about, originally he was recruited as a receiver, defensive back, because he was so athletic. And you see that on film. You see a guy that is just making everybody and their mother miss when they try and tackle him. And he's also willing to run through tacklers. So he's got the grit. He's got this mentality of no one is going to take me down. I'm just going to keep fighting. But now you saw on his junior highlights and some of the things that you hear when he shows up at these camps is that the ball is just flying off his hands. You see that the arm strength is now there. He is willing to be aggressive. My biggest thing, Ryan, that I always talk about with quarterbacks, I want a guy who's willing to take shots, has the arm to take those shots, and trusts his body, trusts his arm talent. He is one of those players, and I could totally see that translating early on to first-year production as a freshman or a redshirt freshman.
And Joe, let's get something straight, though. He wasn't just being recruited to play wide receiver and corner on the college level. He was being recruited to play those positions by some of the biggest schools in college football, too, right? Like, this is a high-level athlete that could have played whatever position he felt like. But to your points, the passing has come a long way. When you look at, like, his sophomore film, there was natural arm talents, but it's also just kind of seemed a little bit mechanical. It didn't seem supernatural. He took a big step as far as kind of the naturalness of him throwing a football in the junior season. I really think that he took a massive step forward. And when you combine that with the athleticism he has, a lot of people do the whole compare any athletic quarterback to Lamar Jackson. And usually it's crazy. Like, let's not do that ultimately, because Lamar Jackson is one of the most rare players that we've ever seen play the quarterback position. But I see it with Henderson a little bit, right? He's long, he's gangly, he's got kind of that incredible strength profile, despite not being the biggest quarterback of all time. He's got an elastic arm, and he's a dynamic athlete. So this is a kid that, when we look back on it, could be one of the most dynamic run-throw quarterbacks that we've seen enter college football in some time. He's got that type of upside to him if he continues to round out his game.
He's now on the radar a lot of these top programs to be an actual quarterback recruit. No more are they talking about him as a receiver or a defensive back. And 247 Sports recently updated their rankings. He is the number 4 quarterback per the composite, and just overall, he is their number 2 quarterback, 3rd overall recruit nationally, number 1 in the state of Texas, because his impact is so visible. Here's what's really interesting, though. Peel back the curtain for a second. We kind of try to remain a little bit ambiguous sometimes when we're talking about some of these players because there's a shot that they could flip, they could change their mind. But when I was digging into him, did you know his high school coach is Michael Bishop, the former Kansas State quarterback? Yep. I didn't know this layer, though. Willie Fritz was Bishop's coach at Blinn Community College. So the tie goes so far back. I was over here thinking, like, hey, maybe Colin Klein's going to come on in as 2 former Kansas State quarterbacks, maybe sway him a little bit. But I feel like that there is this bond that's being created, not only being the first school to give him a shot, but also knowing that Fritz and Bishop have a relationship with one another kind of makes this whole thing pretty funny to look at and what to expect.
Well, it's funny. Michael Bishop's name's been popping up everywhere because there's also the athlete Bishop that just committed to Texas, which is a cousin of Michael Bishop as well in the 2026 class. So a lot of relations to Michael Bishop for whatever reason, both as a coach and as literally a family relative, which is kind of funny to be able to see. I mean, do you even remember Michael Bishop? Are you even old enough to remember Michael Bishop at Kansas State? Okay. Makes me feel a little bit old because I do remember Michael Bishop when I was young at Kansas State. He was a dynamic quarterback. But as we kind of turn back to Henderson, It appears as of today, right? Like those Houston bonds are pretty strong. It doesn't mean that something won't change at some point, because at the end of the day, some big time programs with a lot of money are coming after this young man, and he's got a lot of upside to be as good as we have seen. And I don't want to understate something, Joe. You mentioned top 4 quarterback in the class on the composite, number 2 by 247 Sports. Let's also remember, this is a great quarterback class in 2026, man. Like, you have Jared Curtis, you have guys like Ryder Lyons. Like, this is a very deep quarterback class, and that just speaks volume of the talent that a player like Henderson has.
Folks, comment below your thoughts on Henderson and how you hope he's going to play in college. Hit that like button and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.